and Machakos for the loss of these two gallant soldiers and leaders in the country. We'll be talking about Jamhuri Day and, of course, what to expect tomorrow, the status of the country, as it were. But very quickly, let me introduce the panel that is in studio. Oh, my name is John Jacob Kiria, as usual. Eric Ragalo is with us once more. I also have Anthony Kirori, who is also a politician, like Eric Ragalo, and then Maina Kamunya, an upcoming advocate. Thank you very much, all of you gentlemen, for joining us. Maybe probably one of you could, each one of you can take 30 seconds to say hi, and then we begin.
Good evening, viewers. Thank you that we are joining each other today to discuss what our country is undergoing or what is going in our country. I want to remind you again that COVID is real, COVID is with us. There are 3 things that we must remember: wear a mask, keep social distance, and wash your hands, not sanitizing, because you don't know the amount of alcohol in any sanitizer. This is our country, but water will always be water, soap will always be soap. So wash your hands.
All right. Anthony?
Thank you. Good evening, viewers. My name is Anthony Kirori, as he had said. Welcome, viewers. Looking forward to this engagement, and more especially when we come to discuss on the issue of creating employment, because here in Kenya we keep on saying there are no jobs. Personally, I think that's just a myth. Ni kukosa kufikiria. There are very many ideas, simple things that can be done to create a lot of wealth and jobs, but we'll be discussing that later.
Okay, let's stretch our thoughts today. Maina?
Hello viewers, good evening. My name is Maina Kamunya, as usual, and I want to welcome all of you to Taifa TV and this Taifa Dialogue. And allow me to say that it's a very sad day for us as a country. We have lost 2 opinion leaders in our nation, and to the families, we say we are poor, and just a reminder that we should all of us take care, because COVID is real. So just take care of yourself wherever you are.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you all. So we begin this conversation. Of course, the deaths of Senator Kabaka, Murunga, and the other MP for Kabuchai reminds me of President Kibaki's first term, when he also had quite a number of MPs, dying that particular time. And it's quite a difficult time, you would agree, and our condolences to all those families that have been affected. Well, tomorrow is Jamhuri Day, 57 years of independence, and probably where to start off, Eric Ragalo is the first president, the founding father of this nation. His vision was eradicating poverty, ignorance, and disease. 57 years later, where are we? Have we eradicated these 3?
What is independence? That is what I would want to ask first. We got independence from what? Did we fight for independence, or was it given to us?
Given or fighting for it, we have independence.
We were given. Okay. We didn't fight for it. And how was it given? And who was it given to? It was given to us Kenyans. Under what agreement did we agree with the white man? We had first Lancaster, second Lancaster. And we had very many constitutions. He will tell you there was Leighton Constitution. He's more of a lawyer. By the time we were coming to 1963, we reviewed some 2 or 3 constitutions before that. And by the time we were getting the constitution for Kenya, it was not of our control. We were still under the white man control for a long time. So we never had independence. After all, we were under control from some quarters. What
are these quarters?
The white man.
Since when? Because Kenya became a republic in 1964.
Kenya became a republic in books. It was never a republic ever. We were still under the white man, and even today.
Which white man?
The British. If you want to tell you, the Queen's country.
No, we were not.
We are, even today.
You would have to justify that.
Yeah, because we cannot have another company that can compete BAT. It's only BAT that can make cigarette in Kenya. As much. If you want to do business, you cannot compete Kenya breweries in making alcohol. Those are British companies.
Does that mean that they are still the retainers of our independence?
Yes, because you cannot compete. They always take money their home.
That's debatable.
No, he talked about something. No. He said something here very important. Opening economy and creating jobs. How do you open economy?
Okay.
By making us independent as possible.
And we will talk about opening the economy. I talked about 3 things: poverty, ignorance, and disease. 57 years later, have you overcome them?
We've not overcome any.
Not poverty?
No poverty.
Not ignorance?
No ignorance.
not disease.
No disease. Why am I saying ignorance? We're following BBI like, I don't want to use a bad word.
I knew BBI
just because someone,
I knew somehow BBI was
because
going to
one
come
person
up.
and the other is saying in Mzuri now we run. Nobody want to read. Even the most learned will still think it's not necessary to read. Diseases. We still have diseases. The very, very diseases that we would be able to fight still kills us. Okay? Minyoo bado iko haijaenda. Why? Because we are poor. Because we cannot afford water. We said water to every household by 2000. You remember the Moi time. Water in every household by 2000. Do we have that? So we are very poor. We are not independent as long as they
On a scale of 1 to 10, you would give the Republic of Kenya
4.
4. Well, 4 is, I mean, 4 is still a good mark. It means we have made several strides. Anthony, poverty, ignorance, and disease. 57 years later, have we made any headway?
He gave a score of 4. He's very generous. I think we are somewhere between 1 and 2.
Come on.
Yes.
Why?
I'll come to the why later.
Okay.
Then he said we never fought for independence. I respectfully disagree. We were not there. All of us were not born. But there are those people who did fight for the
And we know
independence.
who
so
did.
we cannot underscore that.
Okay.
However, that's not the subject for today. Let me give you an analogy.
Okay.
Somebody has a lot of meat, rice, vegetables, cooking gas, cooking oil, but they are starving in the house to the point of almost dying. Would you say such people are clever?
No, they're not.
Hardworking?
They're not.
However, there is a neighbor who does not have any of these, but he comes and he talks to these other people who have got so many resources, and then they agree to give him the uncooked rice, the uncooked vegetables, the cooking oil. The person goes and makes some food, they eat, and then the remainder they bring back to the original owners.
The original owner of the rice and vegetables.
Of the rice. And then the original owner of the rice becomes very happy. Voila! We have food to eat. Would you say this original owner is bright?
Oh, they're
No.
not.
Now, let's put it in a different context. The total land area of Kenya is about 580,000 kilometers square. The total land mass of Japan is 377,915 square kilometers. So Japan is 65% of Kenya. Because as we are at 580,000, then they're at almost 378,000. Japan is 65% of the land mass of Kenya. So we've got more land in Kenya. However, our population is close to what? Is it 50 million? 48, 49? Let's say 50 million.
Yeah, 50 million.
50 million, maybe by the end of next year. We are about 50 million with a lot of land mass. In Japan, it's 128 million people. So they occupy 65% of Kenya, and they are 2.5 times more than us. Now, this is the sad part. Kenya is heavily blessed with natural resources. We have a lot of natural resources in our country.
Okay.
If you are to Google 10 countries with 0 natural resources or without any natural resources, Japan is in the list. They don't have any natural resources, at all. However, the GDP per capita income, GDP per capita for our viewers who don't understand is the total wealth, the total money in a given area, let's say in this country of Kenya, divided by all the people, from the president to that child who has just been born. If all that money was to be divided, that's the GDP per capita. So for last year, GDP per capita of Japan was $40,000, about $297. Now here in Kenya, we paid in Kenya shillings per month, and that's GDP for the whole year. So we need to convert this 40,000 to Kenya shillings per month. So when you convert that, it means everybody in Japan got 372,000 every single month.
Yes.
And they have 0 natural resources. Kenya has a lot of natural resources. Do you know how much we got? Our GDP was? And our population is less. It was $1,817. Translated, converted to Kenya shillings per month, every Kenyan got 16,807 shillings. Let's call it 17,000
per month.
17,000 per month. So we have a lot of food. We have a lot of cooking oil.
But you have given us.
Yes. But we are only earning we are living a lifestyle of 17,000 per month. Somebody else, our neighbor, so to speak, who has got nothing, is living the lifestyle of 372,000 every single month. Now, for someone who's living a lifestyle of 17,000 and 317,000 every single month, are we
No
living the same kind of?
It's absolutely no
But now,
comparison.
remember what I started with.
Yes.
There's this house with a lot of food. There's this country with a lot of resources. It is us. We have a lot of resources. Now, just to be a bit more specific, I can give an example. We have a lot of iron ore in the country. In fact, the county government of Laikipia, they did some study some time back and found that the iron ore in Laikipia is enough for commercial mining. We have iron ore in Embu. We have iron ore in Funyula. We have iron ore in Taita. I think Kishasha Mines in Taita exports about 7,500 tons of iron ore every single month. Exports. Now, the funny thing is this. On average, we get between 3,000 to 5,000 per ton of iron ore. So let's say on average is 4,000. 4,000 per ton. So a ton and a half will earn 6,000. Why am I saying a ton and a half? Because you require about a ton and a half to get a ton of steel.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll export a ton and a half and get about 6,000. Whoever will buy that iron ore for 6,000 will go and get a ton of steel. And then they will make a car that is worth about a ton. A car that's worth about a ton.
Yes.
It's about what? 5 million.
5
5 million.
Yes.
So basically, we are giving out our uncooked rice, our uncooked vegetables in the form of iron ore at 6,000 for 1.5 tons. Then we import it back at about 4 to 5 million. Now, seriously, tell me, who's smarter now?
Clearly not us. Maina Kamunya, I know you're government's defender in chief. Would you want to argue with the facts that have been brought to you? And poverty, ignorance, and disease, how far are we doing better?
I think.
I know you're confused.
No, I can't be confused. I cannot be confused.
Go ahead.
Lawyers don't get confused. So I think I would not give the comment of the day 4 or 1.5 also, but I would say something. And if you reflect back since independence, and you talk about health, you talk about poverty and illiteracy. I think on illiteracy, the country have done a bit better, right? A good number of people are educated. It's now very hard to find somebody. I think.
And some would argue they have only been reduced to academic robots. They don't use that education to reason.
I'm coming there. You see, what have happened is that the government have educated so many young people. They did so well in terms of make sure that the institutions that students get to school. And Kibaki was so good because he accredited so many colleges and whatever to give people skills. But the mistake they did, they were not able to transit that knowledge, right, to what Moshimo is saying. You get the point? Because when you have so many prabas in the market, but there's no opportunity for them to do what they did, they learned in school. I think that's been the major problem. And I think if you are able to, and the challenge should be to the Uhuru's government is this. Maybe it's time that they rethink on where Kibaki started. When Kibaki came in 2002, he realized that the economy was broke. Kenya was on its knees. So he came up with incentives, piki, mobile phones, all those things, and they were able to boost the economy within a very
It was called the ESP.
Yeah, you get the point. It was able to boost the economy within around 4 years. The GDP was from 1% to around 6.7 within 3-4 years. So I think this is the same whole government should have done. But you see, the problem is, and we still continue to insist here, we are not a government that is accountable to Mwananchi. You get the point? The reason why there are so many people, guys who are educated robots, as we are saying, is because the government have educated them, but have not provided a platform for them to ensure that they work. Because the money that is to be channeled to development is sorted too. When it comes to health, I think when I was growing up, I knew the likes of Ukambani, the likes of some parts of Kitui, whatever. In short, Ukambani region iko yote. Ilikuwa inajulikana ni ile one of the areas that was so dry, and an area you could walk so many kilometers before you get some water. But if you go there today, it's a different story. So I would say that the devolution concept have worked. It have really transformed lives. we are not where we were when Kibaki left. You get the point? We are not where we were when Moi was in government. We are not where we were when Kenyatta was in government. Because today, if you go to Makueni, for instance, or if you go to Machakos, you find there are so many hospitals that are able to attend to patients. I think it's one of the counties that have ambulances, daily ambulances for patients. So, and I think I had submitted here sometimes before that it's only in Machakos you go and find a level 2 hospital more equipped, more cleaner than Thika level 5.
Okay.
You get the point? So I think it's just a matter of where and who have been able to.
In simple terms, you're saying there are gradual steps we've made towards progress.
Yes,
and towards these three things. And very quickly, because I want us to move to a different subject, I want you markings. It was 4. He said 1.5, 2. How much would you give?
Okay, personally, I would give
out of 10.
Out of 10, I give them 5.5.
Okay. No, you don't need to explain. You already explained.
I'm not
5.5.
Yes. What I'm saying is, I think this should be our focus. That we have the manpower, we have the resources, we have the government. What is it that we are lacking? And I think the whole of this week I've tried to do my own analysis on why is Kenya the way we are. And one thing that I've come to realize that we don't have is a culture. Our nation do not have a culture. And you go to the country like Malaysia.
What kind of culture are you making?
You go to the countries like Malaysia, go to countries like Denmark, like Singapore. Those guys, once they realized that their country was going broke, they changed their system very fast. Those presidents who came in, they knew our country is at stake, our economy is at stake. So they were able to implement policies that were able to jumpstart the economy. And then, therefore, they put up measures to ensure that anybody who comes to power have no way to ensure that he can loot. The government that comes to power is accountable to the people. The same way Kenyans would have done. But if you go back to 2013 up to date, they have looted more than it have been able to do before.
You're a supporter of BBI. Is that in the BBI? Your proposals?
It's there. What they're proposing is not yet adequate. You get the point. But the silly thing about
But you're supporting it.
But you see, the silly thing about their thickness is that you can change it to that. But this is high.
No. That one I refuse. Why? Let me just input that.
All the money.
Let me listen to Eric Regalo, and I'll come back to you because it's something you had talked about the system, and in fact there was a proposal to delink these investigative agencies from the national government as it were, and that has not happened. And we'll talk about that in a bit. But Eric, your submission.
It's good we are talking about corruption. Where did we start losing it? We lost it from 1960s when we took all the commission's reports and put them under a cover.
The shelves.
Yes. If all those commission reports were put out and taken care of, then we will not have any corruption. What I mean is corruption is not only money. There is corruption of mind. There is corruption of election corruption. We have Kriegler report.
Yes.
We need to honestly handle corruption. There is also Ndongo report. There's Truth and Justice Reconciliation report. If all these reports were handled with honesty, we should not be having corruption. There's one corruption we have right now. The corruption of the mind. Where now I'm talking about ignorance. That corruption of the if that corruption of the mind ends, then we will also solve many of our problems we have today. We keep on talking about money lost. I am a medic. I'm hurt even today that we've lost 27 nurses. Numbers are there as today. 12 doctors. And a number of human beings have left the world because of us being very
the man you support
corrupt.
Said you're not the only guys dying, so cool.
That's what I'm saying. We are not the only, but it hurts me when the person who is supposed to assist the dead is now not able to work and is out there picketing, and now the patients are infecting each other. The next time we'll have a very, 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 very sick country. That is another corruption.
And probably to support the corruption of mind, the fact is Kenyans are not out in the streets to demonstrate against this.
Yes, and what I was expecting was Kenyans as a whole to go out in the street and compel the government
to pay you guys.
To return money stolen from KEMSA. and make sure KEMSA people have the right documents, right equipment to assist them. Okay. It's not the function.
That's the ignorance you are citing.
That's what I'm saying. Kenyans are ignorant. They're here making noise. KEMSA kumeibwa, aki kumeibwa, na ni pesa yenu, na nyinyi ndio mnagonjeka corona, nyinyi ndio mnaaga dunia.
That point is valid.
You understand? You know, I don't understand that corruption of mind. So we can talk about bullets and everything, but we have enough reports. Okay. Take one report and constitute it rightly. Utaona vile kutatetemeka. The best report, I'll give you an example. Eka Truth Justice Reconciliation Report open. These people you see are big in Kenya today. They will go into hiding. The
pitfalls in that report are major. Very quickly, in 1 minute, talk about the delinkage of investigative agencies from the control of national government.
You see, the problem we have as a country, and mostly in Africa, is that leaders who come into power are still having hangovers of being the supreme. You get the point? They're still dust of power. So
are you then saying Donald Trump is African? Anyway, go ahead.
Of course, but he was just
he is. Do you know why he's Africa? Everyone came from Africa.
Go ahead.
They just turned the color.
You see, the problem is, when I'm coming to power, I have to make sure that I assemble all the machineries of government to ensure that they are under me. The problem is, either I will come into power through the legit, or legit means I have to make sure that I stay in power. And the only way to stay in power to ensure that you corrupt all the system, that you are the final say in every system. You see, I was listening to Dr. Pierre Lumumba just the other day, and he said when he was the head of EACC by then, was saying that one of the things that they were writing a proposal about, they wanted the government to be separated from the office of the ODPP. To the point, because they realized that's why so many cases were getting lost. Because I know if I'm a politician, I have a scandal that's on my way. I know who to approach, and everything will get fixed. So I think that's the only way. Let's disconnect the investigative authority from the state.
And I will ask you this question again. You're a supporter of BBI. That proposal is not in the BBI. Why are you supporting it?
I say here, everything is not 100%, and no document can be 100%. Okay. And I said,
so we fix it progressively.
No, just a minute. I had my own observation. I think the CJ have said today that we don't need a judicial ombudsman. And Maraka, I have said this afternoon, when he was giving his final speech, that you see, it will be a duplication of functions, and it's the state trying to capture the Judicial Service Commission and the judiciary at large. Right. So I think we need to do that as quick as possible.
All right, Anthony, we were speaking about corruption.
Yes.
But there's a more pressing issue, and the Jubilee government has been accused of this, that you found a debt of 1.3 trillion.
Yes.
Now you're almost at 9 trillion. And at the heart of it, and I think that's why SMEs all over are running amok, the aspect of local borrowing. This financial year, the government was borrowing 680 billion locally. What they were getting from the international markets was about 380 something. That's already, over borrowing locally and, suffocating SMEs. How do you deal with that?
Let me turn the coin a bit.
Okay.
Though I hope I'll go back. I still go back to that thing.
You still go back to the issue.
Yes. But before I go that, I want to ask a question, or just to reply to something you said. You talked about somebody when they are accused, they run to the lawyer, and everything is confidential.
Yes.
No, I don't refuse to that, and that's very good. And I was not saying that the police or the DCI come and lock you in jail. All I'm simply saying is this. There's that aspect of when the DCI or the DPP or whoever is investigating takes you to, starts investigating you and your account, and you need to explain. I was saying, look at it from the other side of the coin. Don't look at the recipient of the money. Look at the distributor of the money. The distributor of the money is a department in government. You had so much money. How have you used it? Where did this money go? That is work for one afternoon. Give us the accounts.
The entire chain of fraud.
Yes, the entire chain of fraud. From there, you will get, even if it's not an afternoon, maybe a week's work. Maybe if the account is so big, you will find everybody from person 1 to person 1,000, person N, where N could be towards infinity, have received money. Person 1, you got this money. What did you do? Supply. What did you deliver? What are your?
That was done.
Yes. Just let me finish. Just let me finish. So that at the end of the day, when they come to person 6 or 7 or number 13, whatever it is, and you cannot account what you gave government, then quickly you are taken to the magistrate or to the judge.
It was done in NYS1.
Yes,
I would want you to tell us how many people have been
I
found
remember,
culpable.
The trace.
Even in this one of Kemsa, there's this guy who said
There's
that.
But hold on. Just hold on. Is it in law? You see, what I'm simply saying is this. Once money is in your account from government coffers and you never supplied anything, automatically you should be termed guilty.
No, you can't.
Because you're handling stolen property.
You can't be done.
Well, that is a little bit
Yes.
extrajudicial.
So, okay.
But anyway, let's move on
Okay,
to
so-
the point of borrowing
Yes.
and the economy.
Now, this thing of borrowing, I look at it from, as I said, I'll start, as I said, I look at the difference, the other side of the coin. The controller of, what is it, the Auditor General,
Yes.
for more than, is it 10 years, he's been saying that a third of our budget is lost, is stolen
Through corruption.
through corruption. Our budget, the last few years, has been averaging about 3 trillion. A third of 3 trillion is 1 trillion. So if we've been losing about a third of the budget for about 10 years, it means we've lost about 10 trillion. Now, Thika Superhighway is about what, 50 kilometers. It costed about 32, let's say 30 billion. 32 billion, but let's say 30 for ease of, even let's work with 32 billion. 32 billion, how many times will it enter into a trillion? A trillion is 1,000 billion. It will enter 30 times. That's 960 billion.
Actually, it will be 30 makes it 90.
960. 32 times 30 is 960. 960.
Still we are-
And they still another 40, so 31 times.
Yes, that's what I say, 31 times.
So let's just work with easy figures, 30 times. The length of superhighway is 50 kilometers. 50 kilometers times 30 is 1,500 kilometers. The length of Malaba, the distance of Mombasa to Malaba is 900 and about 25 kilometers, 926 kilometers, something like that. So it means, if it's 925 kilometers, it means from 1 trillion
Tutajenga yote.
to Ngejenga from Mombasa
Yes.
to Malaba, a superhighway.
With 4 lanes.
And then, after that, we still remain with 575 kilometers to be hapa na pale. So, is there a road in your neighborhood where you are staying or where you live or in Ushago that is spoiled? That is not good.
You're even going far. The
So-
road from Muranga to Kiriaini is a very nasty road.
This road,
Which is the main road.
Just here from, because you are in Juja right now, from the flyover
We'll make the
to Juja Farm is 12.5 kilometers. To Athi is about 25, 26 kilometers.
We will
So,
actually improve the exchange of the flyover.
Yes.
Because again, the jam there is hellish.
yes, but you see, you're building it as a superhighway. So superhighway has many flyovers. So basically what I'm simply saying, that is just 1 trillion. Amount that is more or less lost every single year. There's something Eric said that it is very, very bad that doctors are not being paid. And as Kenyans, we are ignorant. We should be going out in the streets. It's true what he's saying, it's very, very bad. But we should not really be going out in the streets because of the doctors. Let's look at the bigger problem. The bigger problem is the amount of money being stolen every single year.
Okay.
That's where we
And
should
part of
focus.
the money being stolen is money we have borrowed that we are going to pay.
It's still being stolen. Yes. And it doesn't make
sense.
at all. That's why, much as we are saying we are more educated right now, I don't know whether we can say we are educated fools.
That's why I said we are ignorant.
Yes, we are ignorant or we are like educated fools because, but at the end of the day, let's look at it. Let's try to get to the bone marrow, so to speak. We complain about our government. The government comes in through elections. Who elects these people?
Yeah. Now that's a mirror on the face.
Yes. It is, Wanjiko, including me.
Yes.
We are the ones who elect.
Yeah.
So there is a fundamental flaw. You know, in 2014, I had the privilege of meeting Ambassador Chege. Ambassador Chege was, I think it was Ambassador Chege. He was the ambassador of South Korea. And he asked me, Mr. Kirori, I was asked a very painful question I was not able to answer. Maybe you could help me answer. I asked him, yes, shoot the question, what is it? So he told me he met the president of South Korea.
The lady,
Park Geun-hye, something like that, yes? Her father was also the president in the 1960s. In the 1960s, the father came to Kenya. And our president at that time, the late Jomo Kenyatta, gave them a grant of $10,000.
Yes.
A grant is money I am giving you, and I'm idea. So basically, like,
unaisema na sheng hamuna kakitu.
Yes. And then mujisaidia mkono maskini mingi
kweli kutuliko.
So what she asked him is this: my father, when he was president, he came to your country, and your president at the time gave us $10,000. The son of the president at that time is now your president. The daughter of the president at that time here in South Korea is now she's not the president.
Although she's now
yes, at that time she was the president. Yes.
You remember she came
she's
here.
no longer
Yes.
However,
the tables have turned from a financial perspective. But Kenya has got more resources than us. What happened to you that we overtook you? That now our quality of life in South Korea is far much more better. Maybe your lives will never be there. It will take over 100 years to catch up with us.
Even more.
Yes. So what happened to you?
And you didn't have an answer.
So what happened to us? I was very surprised, but then when I looked at it critically, I said, at the end of the day, I went back to the issue of the natural resources. But then natural resources, who decides how the natural resources are going to be used?
Yes.
Who decides?
But you see,
Just hold on, who decides how the resources will be used? It's the government, right?
Yes.
Who elects the government? It is us. Which arm of parliament? Which arm of the government makes the laws?
It's parliament.
It's the parliament. And one of the things, I had the opportunity of meeting the BBI guys in 2019 December, and I tried. At that time, I remember I told them, that was in December 2019. When I was called to start to contribute, the first thing I said is this: let's first talk about this thing of COVID. And I asked them, plus everybody else who was there, if COVID had originated in Kenya, if COVID had originated from Africa, but basically if it came from Kenya, do you think, with all due respect, the Chinese would have allowed any Kenyan to go to China, including our president?
They wouldn't.
They wouldn't. In that BBI at that time, the document, they're talking about software and hardware. Hardware, our natural resources. Software is how we think. So I told them, because you report to the president, go and talk to the president or whoever else you talk to, that we close our borders from any country that is suffering from COVID. They should not come to Kenya. Nobody responded to that question. And later on, I was told that, a bit later on, I was told towards the very end that Kirori, because people asked, told like, hey, Kirori brought a question that nobody has answered. They were like, you do not understand the intricacies of business, international business, and all that. We can never close the airspace. That has never happened. It will never happen.
Yes.
What happened was it in March or April?
We did.
After COVID had come in.
We closed the.
Suppose we had acted a bit earlier. So, back to that question of the South Korean ambassador. To me, how I looked at it is this way. As Kenyans, we are the ones who vote in the people who will go to parliament to make the laws. And we forget parliament. We call it parliament, we call it the National Assembly, we call it the August House. But I honestly believe it should be called House of Ideas. So that when we are electing people, we elect the people with the right ideas to improve our quality of life.
All right. That's a fair point. Before you respond, Maina Kamunya, we're still talking about the economy and how, Kenyans are affected owing to what is going on. President Uhuru Kenyatta's Jamhuri Day speech tomorrow. The country has already admitted, or the minister in charge of Treasury has already admitted the country is doing badly. At this very particular time, when everybody is suffering, the government is planning to revert back to its normal taxation from where it had lowered it to now to go back to the usual taxation. Would you say that is a smart move?
it's not. It's not. And before I get to your question, allow me to respond something that Mheshimiwa said today. And you see, I've said and I will still remain and still hold my position that what is lacking so much in most of African countries, and especially in Kenya, is culture. We are the one who elected these guys. And I remember Obama said when he was running for his second term in office, he told people that I don't want to give you any cash, so that when I got in that position, I will not be tempted to steal so that I can get my money back. But here, what happened today? You have to bribe people to vote for something that those guys have interest in. Today, ask any Kenyan that, you know what, why is the country going this way? Why are you steering? You want to tell me that milk is being brought from Uganda and Tanzania, and you have members of parliament sitting in that parliament?
Is that the ignorance Ragala was talking about?
Exactly.
You need a point of disagreement.
I'm not saying about ignorance. I'm talking about culture. That these guys know that we are elected to represent people and to work for the best interest of them, of the country. Because I think there's so many countries in the world that I think China is one of them. If you go and steal from China and they know that you have stolen, they'll kill you.
And me, I was saying,
there's something I want to understand. What is your definition of culture? Because you need to be very specific.
The culture is, and this is where I'm saying, the reason why the countries like Singapore and Malaysia are there where they are, they are forefathers, they are founding fathers of their nation, were able to establish this is our country, this is our...
Hold on a minute.
Just a minute.
Hold on
culture.
a minute. I'm sure you did history in secondary school.
Yes.
You were taught about the duties of a responsible citizen.
Yes.
That is our culture.
Yes.
Yes.
But you see...
The duties of a responsible citizen. So it is not that we don't have a culture.
No.
We defy it.
We don't defy it. When I went to School of Law, in first year I was taught something in Social Foundation of Law that's called social contract. You get the point? That whenever I elect a member of parliament, I don't have to be in parliament. But that member of parliament I've elected knows that I'm doing coffee in my region. So that whenever he goes to that parliament, any legislation regarding coffee, he will be there for me.
And the MP knows that. And the MP knows that.
But the one we have...
Hold on a minute. And the MP knows that it is what?
They know that.
But when he goes to parliament?
They do otherwise. Because...
So does that mean he doesn't know?
No.
He knows.
He knows, but
decides not to do it.
The problem is,
yes,
that guy came with $1 billion or maybe 100 million during the elections. We could not give him the vote until he corrupted us with 200 or 500. So we sold our birthright for 5 years because of 200 or 500.
And that is not because we don't have a culture.
No.
It is because
no.
Kenyans have refused to exercise responsible citizenship.
Tanzania is a very good classical example of a country with a political culture.
Stop talking about Tanzania.
No, let's hear.
Let's make your point.
Because maybe you
make your point.
Go do the research on the countries like Singapore and the country of Denmark. There's a reader that comes and you understand that there's something is wrong here. When Kibaki came in 2000, he said, we are working nation, a philosophy. We are working nation. Everybody knew that we are working. And even journalists who are there by that time, they were complaining that they were going to State House, they could not be given tea. You remember?
Which journalists?
By then.
No, come on.
Just a minute. Because admit it, because
nobody, journalists don't ask for tea.
Just
make your point.
Maybe you are not there by then. But those likes of our forefathers like Mheshimiwa here knows when Moi was in that seat, whoever went to State House, lazima kutoka na bahasha. Kibaki did not give you a bahasha. And I had people admitting that Kibaki was not give you a bahasha, even tea, he not give you. Come do the business, then you leave. He could go to Ubaya, if you can remember. Hataki gathering, anaambia watu wenu mfanye kazi. You get the point? Because his philosophy was a working nation. And that's why within 4 years, the GDP had to grow that much. Today, no.
So hold on a minute. Today, now I have to be cutting issues because I don't have time. So is it culture you're advocating for, or is it philosophy?
Culture will form part of the philosophy. Today we have a government that came in 2013 and told us, you know what, that we shall have no strikes. In 2013, that of doctors, of nurses. But the second in the second in command is doing gathering in a...
Let me help you. There was the Nyayo philosophy. Do you remember? Of love, peace and
harmony.
Kibaki came with that philosophy of kazi. Even this government has a philosophy. Kusema
na kutenda.
Kusema na kuiba.
No, hold on a minute. Don't be emotional about a debate. Kusema na kutenda. That's their philosophy. If they are not doing it, it is because they have refused to do it. But the fact of the matter is they have a philosophy.
Founded on what?
Hold on a minute. The fact of the matter is they have a philosophy. The fact that they're not following it, it is because of their own indiscipline and they're not following it. Even on issues of culture, this country has a culture. The fact is, we have refused to follow that culture.
Your culture is in your national anthem. Please, let me give you an answer. You are unaenda mbali, unadanganya watu.
Don't give me. Let me tell you, because I want you
national
to
anthem is where the culture is.
When you have
I'm giving you that opportunity, Maina Kamunya, so that you can tell us, what is this culture you're advocating for?
Get it from me now.
What are you talking about?
Get it from now. When Kibaki came in 2002, you get the point? Everybody knew that we are working nation.
That is a philosophy, not a
minute.
culture.
Go ahead.
You get? So people are working, seriously working. Everybody was knowing that we are working. Even though that we are working.
Yeah, even the ones doing Goldenberg were working.
Very few. Okay, those are the short forms of the same. But you can't compare that regime with the regime we have today.
Why?
Because the foundation we read during 2002 was critical that a country is erring. A country is going to the grave. So the leader who came in there was able to motivate Kenyans to work. Today, we are motivating Kenyans to steal because you have so many people have graduated, but you're not offering them job. So even if you give them handout, they will still take it. Get young people to unemployment, they will steal. Because even those seniors in the political field, they are stealing. None of them is being taken anywhere. I said, and I'll repeat it today. We are still here to get brave readers who can lead this nation.
What are you saying? I asked you a very simple question. What is this culture you're advocating for?
Yes.
Can you contain yourself within culture? Because you keep talking about culture. Culture gani?
Let me tell you
what is culture?
Let me give a practical example. If today I come here for an interview,
yes,
you get a point. The first day you tell me, you know what, we are supposed to report at 7. So I come here at 7, and I wait for you. Maybe you arrive, you are the host. You arrive at 2. You get the point. So tomorrow I come at 7, you arrive at 2, you arrive at around 8. So the other day I come at 1, you arrive at 7, you arrive at 8:30. So it tells me I'm the one who is wrong. You are my reader, but you are the one in the wrong. So the other day, before I come in Monday, before Friday comes, I'll report here at 9. You get the point? So I've chipped in your culture because you are my reader. That's the same way a nation grows. The one who comes in, you get the point, as a reader, as a political figure, the one who comes in and says we are working nation, and shows by action that you are working nation. Everybody in that country, every department of the state, you get the point? We start getting down to work.
In simple terms, you're saying, if I get you, that every regime has its culture.
Countries that...
Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying they have. But
every regime... Hold on, Eric Ragalo. Every regime has its culture. Is that what you're saying?
Not every regime. Countries that have grown up...
No, I'm talking about Kenya. Don't go to countries.
It can be good or bad.
Go to countries.
It can be good or bad, but it's a culture.
So you're saying every regime has a culture?
Yes.
Good or bad?
And good or bad? Does this nation have founding ideals? Does it?
There are 4.
Are there any founding ideals?
We lost them long time ago.
So we lost them.
Long time ago.
But we had founding ideals.
Of course, yes.
But we
remind me of those ideals.
Yeah.
See, you can't remember.
I'm joking.
But we lost them.
We lost them.
We had them.
Who contributed?
So hold on a minute. So the thing is, what I wanted to correct you is, it is that this country doesn't have a culture.
They have.
It has. It was set out on our independence. Unfortunately, because of self-seeking, we have lost that culture. It is not that it doesn't exist.
You see, can I tell you something? I'm very little. When our president was in, I
think, and I know they have started counting time for me. Yes.
When the president was in Singapore, I think last year.
Yes.
Late last year, there's something that they talked with that guy, that president from Singapore, and the president was told, you know what? If you want your nation to grow, have a grand plan that surpasses election cycle. You get the point? Such that if you go to China, they have a 100 years plan. So that any government that comes in have a platform where they're gonna lay their manifesto. You get the point? So that's what I'm talking about.
Ours is 2030.
2030, but because when these guys came in, as Eric was saying, they put on whatever, they could not implement them.
No, listen, you know, you're giving practical examples that you're defying yourself.
No, I'm not.
Because you say, if you're going to have a plan, this country had a plan. Which is, hold on a minute, which is Vision 2030. Unfortunately, the people we elected decided to go wayward. All right? But the truth of the matter is, this country has an economic blueprint contained in the year 2030. Vision 2030.
But why are
is that true?
Why are we doing worse than those who came with the vision.
I will send you to State House. To
Yeah, just before you get just like a commercial break, eh?
Yeah, very quickly.
Yeah, very briefly, yeah. I spoke to some friends of mine who had just come from China some time back, and they told me mostly what is discussed in the streets there is AI, artificial intelligence. Later on, I had the opportunity of speaking to some friends who had just come from the States, and then they said, what guys in the streets talk about in America is what next after artificial intelligence. Do you know what in Kenya we are discussing? 2020.
22. That is it.
That's a problem. What was your submission as regards the economy? And as you do that,
As regards
kindly
what?
talk about, because Maina Kamunya took us to dramatic culture and philosophy. He forgot to answer my question about the Minister Treasury now reverting back to the normal taxation, even when we are not out of this woods just yet.
What I want to remind ourselves before we go there is that tomorrow is a Universal Health Coverage Day. As much as we are talking
Jamhuri
about
Day.
Jamhuri Day,
Yes.
Remember Universal Health Coverage
Coverage
Day. The meaning of Universal Health Coverage is that the government was tasked to be able to offer universal health to every Kenyan, which is financially affordable to everyone. So, as at particular time now, because we are going 5 years since we started universal health, do you feel taken care of? Can you go to a hospital and you are treated and holistically taken care of a treatment and you can afford to pay from your pocket?
No.
So that is what I want to hear from Uhuru Kenyatta tomorrow. What has he done, his government, under universal health coverage, knowing that the day he will be speaking tomorrow to the nation will be the day of the universal health coverage day.
All right. And
Okay.
interestingly, it
you
appears
know-
like the piloting has been quite a flop.
Yeah.
In terms of universal health coverage. Nyeri, I hear people are crying. They went there with the medical cards, they can't get treatment. Those things don't exist.
Yeah.
So the day of universal health coverage.
So
Hakuna.
that's bringing me to Kamunya's story of discipline. What is a culture? Culture is ideas, customs, and traditions of our country. What were our ideas during the taking over the nation? We will fight ignorance, poverty, you said them, health and what have you. Universal health coverage is still part of health. What have we done? We are still not there. Okay, where did we lose the ideas? Okay, and where did we lose our customs? So where do we need to start? How I wish we have a president that will tell us, hey guys, we need to talk. We need to start at zero. Somebody will tell us, no, hii gari imekwama, tutoe engine, tufungue yote, to resemble engine, we jumpstart engine, tuweke mpaka coolant mpya, then tuseme hii gari hata kama ni jalopy inarukaruka but itatufikisha. We start anew. Because anytime somebody comes, and do you know why Uhuru was voted? Because Raila was to be taken to Bondo. It was not about coming to assist Kenya. Let's take this guy to Bondo.
But he's the person, he's the one who
You
told
see,
people to do that.
yes, you see, when you vote people because of taking someone to Bondo, do you know why Raila got many votes? Because another negative word was used against Uhuru and his
Kenyatta, yes.
compatriot.
All right.
So is that those are now the customs that we have? I said the ideas. Now that is a custom which we need
that
to
we have
shake
developed
off.
now.
Yes.
That needs to be shed off. But our culture is still intact.
Yes. So now the other thing you asked, we are returning our economy back to taxation back to the same Kenyans who are still hard stricken, and you're opening schools for that matter, don't forget, and the same parents are going to suffer. I would say it's still a good thing to do, because the government will not run if they don't get money that they were getting before.
So you think it's a fair move?
It is a fair move. But the question is, have they provided a landing pad for employment to many people who have lost jobs so that they will be taxed? Taxation is not an issue. It was going to come back anyway. But the person who lost a job, how will they bring it? I saw in the papers written that Uhuru Kenyatta has mandated 900-something billion to revamp the economy. Which economy was going to be revamped? economy which is doing at 2.1%? Are you revamping 2.1?
We are not even sure about the kitty, because even the one that was set aside to pay you guys your allowance.
The other day they said
not
they have given us 570 something.
Yeah.
I saw in the papers today that we're going to take health insurances. We didn't want health insurance. We wanted a holistic.
All right.
Sometimes I just get messed up.
My time is up. Actually, I want us to use the next 2 minutes, particularly for you, to talk about job creation, because that's the biggest headache right now. The youth don't have jobs.
Yes.
We have lost so many jobs during this COVID-19 period. We were to think about recovery, resilience that you're talking about. We have to think about job creation.
And
Where
talking
are
of
the
job
ideas?
creation, there is also youth commission coming. And kindly, as you say that, let me add him a question. What is the difference between youth service and the youth league, which is already here, youth commission, and the youth league which Gorsemelango had? And what will be the difference?
Respond to mine, because clearly there's a political question. You respond to it later.
And how will it help you?
The ideas,
I don't know.
Ideas are there.
Yes.
For instance, like when we started the show, I gave an idea.
Yes.
Why are we exporting some of our, why do we export our natural resources? Basically, what the National Assembly, Parliament, which should be called the House of Ideas, should do, they should ban any natural resource to be exported in its raw form. And
Value
then,
addition first.
value addition has to be done here.
Okay.
Now, for instance, let me go, because of the issue of time, with what I've spoken about, the iron ore. Instead of us exporting it at 4,000 per ton, let's mine it here. And then let's start with simple things: spoons, sufurias, wheelbarrows. But at the same time, let's look at the grand opportunity. There are very many bright Kenyans here. Let's start making cars, but we'll not make cars.
You're making Mobius.
Just hold on. We'll not make cars the way they are made internationally.
Okay.
We'll make cars with the electric cars in mind. I am sure, I did electrical engineering.
Okay.
I am sure we have very many bright Kenyans. If the raw materials were here, within 2, 3, 4 years, we'll have electric cars manufactured in Kenya. Now, at that point in time, you see, this is my dream. Our standard of living, average standard of living in Kenya is worth 17,000. People with no resources, their standard of living is 372,000. All I'm simply saying, can we do something to improve our standard of living to come to 150,000?
Okay.
It's very doable. It is possible, but we need to think right.
We need to think right.
Yes.
Fortunately, time is up. What do you want to say?
Just so that thank you for the show, and I think I want to put something because I think
Very quickly.
Most of them do not have this knowledge and these ideas. I want to propose to Mheshimiwa, kindly convene a conference. I'll help you mobilize the young people.
And call me Kirori. You know, there's a time Mheshimiwas was stealing. Then call me Kirori Anthony.
Organize for a conference.
Me or him?
You.
Oh, okay.
So they are the idea. JJ will be the moderator, and you are mobilizing the from what the
Very quickly.
Beautiful idea.
So
Okay.
please do it so that I think we share those ideas so that we can be able to.
Fantastic.
Nice
Your
one.
last word, Eric Regalo, so we wind up.
My last word will always be about health. Take care of yourself. We Kenyans are suffering. Don't be the person to go to Tigoni or any other hospital that they are taking care of COVID patients. And we have to love ourselves. Chukia mwenye nakuja kukuongelesha ama kukusalimia. Chukia means keep off that person.
Okay.
It's really bad out there. I have nothing else to say.
I have a proposal.
It's bad.
Because all of you are done saying what you were saying, I have a proposal.
Yes, sir.
President Uhuru Kenyatta is going to deliver the speech tomorrow. So can we do a surgery of that speech on Tuesday? Because it appears like the real BBI is here, Maina Kamunya. You might agree. The proposals you have in that document may not be sound. Probably they will come from here.
Yes.
What needs to be done about this country. So let's listen to the speech tomorrow. On Tuesday, let's come back here and let's do a surgery on the proposals the president has. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So have yourself a good evening. My name is John Jacob Kiria. Thank you very much, Eric Regalo. Thank you very much, Anthony Kirori. Thank you very much, Maina Kamunya. God bless you. Everybody have a fantastic evening. Have a fantastic weekend. Happy Jamhuri Day. And then see you on Tuesday. Kwaheri.
Okay.